Captain's Log Supplemental. Talking more Daredevil, we had the second trailer for Season 2, which came out yesterday. Yeah, we got a Part 1 and a Part 2, and a lot of people asked me to go ahead and do a Captain's Log for this second trailer. I was inundated with requests yesterday, and didn't get around to it yesterday, so thought I'd go ahead and finally get this out for you today. I promised that I would say something about this trailer, having no idea if I'd really have very much to say about it. Really weird, I thought, having two different trailers, and now that I've seen them, it makes perfect sense. You've got the Punisher trailer and the Elektra trailer, and of course it was really clear that that's what this one would be after, we got to the end of the first one, but I didn't know, just how much more stuff we'd have to really sink our teeth into and get excited about, and the scope of this thing looks enormous, and it looks incredibly involved, and I think two trailers ultimately make a lot of sense for a couple of reasons. One of them is one of them is the scope. As I said, just there's too much that they want to show you to entice you to watch it, and I don't feel like too much has been given away for a long-form storytelling 13-episode thing. I don't know too much, but what I think is, but the big thing I think is really smart about it is that you've got one big element that might entice somebody to watch this and to get excited about it if the other one doesn't. And of course, you might think, well, you've already got an audience hooked on this. Do you even really need to sell it that hard? And I think the approach here is, let's try to get all the folks that didn't bother with first season and have heard so many great things to go in to Netflix and hurry up and watch that first season before the second one drops. I think that they are selling the show itself as much as they're selling the second season, and the teaser trailer that we had using a lot of footage from the first season really speaks to that. You have an opportunity to get a whole new audience when you have a show that's not on TV, that if somebody has a Netflix account, they can easily go back and catch up on, and that's one wonderful benefit to this format, is that it's always there and always available, and so you can keep building an audience that may not be as likely to stick with you if you're trying to sell them on a third, fourth, fifth season of a TV show where they'd have to go back and get the DVDs or find some way to watch it if it's not already, on some kind of a streaming service. So that's smart, but, if the Punisher stuff doesn't grab you, then maybe the Elektra Ninja stuff will. You've got two kind of subgenres of gritty crime drama that are all rolled into one, and of course that's very comic book, that's very Frank Miller at all, with a lot of your gritty street level Daredevil. And so you've got the vigilante stuff with the Punisher, the revenge thriller stuff, and then you've got the ninja side of it with Elektra and the Hand, and some people might be really into one but not so much the other, so I think it was kind of smart to give us a sense of what the story and thematic stuff around all of that might be to kind of get us excited about it. And just as a fan of this series and as a fan of Daredevil in general, it's really whetting my palate and getting me excited to get back in that world. And it's going to be hard not to go back I want to do this. I just don't know if I'll have time. It'll be hard not to take the time to sit down and watch first season again before the second one drops. So we've got Elektra. She looks absolutely wonderful. I love her look. I love the intensity in her eyes. I love how sure of herself she seems, and she seems like exactly what I would expect from Elektra. It's wonderful. I'm really excited about her, and I'm not gonna lie, I got really excited just to see a glimpse of size. I kind of hope that there's some sort of semblance of her comic book costume in this. I'll be real surprised if she's not wearing red somewhere. I hope it's not like the movie Daredevil where she doesn't put on the red until she comes back from the dead. It'd be really cool if we got that somewhere in this, but that's neither here nor there. That's superficial, and who really cares, but it would be really cool to see that. Speaking of costume stuff, Daredevil's eyes in costume look really cool. We get one really nice headshot of it with the purple in the eyes, and that is really super cool looking. Thematically, we're building on what we were given in the first trailer, and of course we haven't seen the thing yet, so I'm not going to sit here and dissect it, but of course if you saw the trailer, Matt Murdock's big question is whether or not he's really done any good as Daredevil. That seems like the obvious but logical place to go, and with Elektra coming in and with the Punisher, we have two fronts, and I'm sure with Stick also, we've got two fronts that are essentially telling him the same thing. You really need to be killing in order to enact any sort of change. And of course, Matt Murdock's problem is, doesn't that make me the bad guy? And it's going to be interesting to see how well that's handled without retreading too much ground from the first season, because he's pretty definitively by the end of that decided, I'm going to be the good guy and I don't kill. And of course that's going to be challenged real hard here. So I imagine what we'll have will be a story where he's constantly challenged on that and he refuses to budge, and he never does, but he's pushed to the brink of it. And it'll be a kind of like the darker, and I mean this can get somewhat dark sometimes too, but the darker end of the Captain America spectrum, where you have a superhero who has an ideology and a rigid moral code who refuses to change, and you see the consequences of that, and you see how far he's pushed, but still, refuses to budge. And I imagine, you'll have to go there, because I really doubt that Daredevil will kill, but then we've taken Matt Murdock to really dark places in the comics before, so I don't suppose that's completely outside of the realm of possibility. One question I have is with Foggy Nelson. A lot of people didn't like him in the first season. I thought he was really good. The thing is, he can sometimes be kind of whiny and irritating in the comics, and it's not a thing that's ever bothered me too much, because I usually can kind of see where he's coming from, but Foggy is often this voice of reason, and he's not the most patient and most confident person in the world, so he doesn't let these things kind of slide off his back. He's a pretty high-strung sort of guy, and that's in his character, so whenever we take that to its fullest extent, it's not like it's out of character for him, but I do think that you have to be careful that he's not constantly being pushed past a breaking point, and that he has different degrees of that. Otherwise, he just comes off as whiny and irritating and no fun to look at, and there is a good chance that it kind of pushes that in this. When he has the line in this where he says that he's afraid that he'll walk up the stairs one day and Matt will be dead, and of course that's building on what we had with the first season, where he hates that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and he's afraid that he's going to get himself killed, and he really cares about him, but he feels like Matt's acting to him almost like he's got a death wish, and like there's nothing he can do for him. And then in the trailer, and maybe this is showing us too much, and I imagine we'll get some fans a little bit worried that they're gonna belabor this too much and that it's gonna get tedious, but you've got the bit where Matt Murdock walks out on him. And I really wonder just how long that argument's going to go before that happens, and how much of that we're gonna have to sit through, or if it'll be not annoying to watch. But I guess we'll see what that's going to be like. I'm excited that we're going full tilt with the ninja stuff. As I've said before, I'm curious to see if we see any supernatural stuff beyond just superpowers, and if we see any mystical stuff with the hand in this. The shot with all the ninjas going up the buildings is really cool. This idea that the Yakuza has been, the hand has been just waiting around for Matt Murdock to take out all their enemies, and that they're going to come in and take over is really interesting, and again challenges Matt Murdock's moral code, and it's going to be really fun to see that drama unfold. One thing that I thought was amusing, there's one shot with people standing around with a whole bunch of dry ice, and it just looks absolutely hilarious. I get doing really heightened stylistic stuff for this world, but that looked just silly to me. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say about it. I'm excited. I'm surprised by how much they've shown us already, but like I said, I think it's not too much for the most part, and I think that it's really smart advertising, and it's just got me back in that headspace. The more I see of this, the more I'm excited to go back and live in that world again, and it really puts me in a really moody kind of place, and I kind of enjoy feeling that way sometimes. So, really smart advertising. The trailers are both really, really good. And like I said, I think it's really fun that the first trailer kind of ends on a cliffhanger, and then the second one picks up from that. So we're we're kind of using that serialized comic book storytelling format even in the trailers. That's reflected in the way we're advertising it, and I think that's really neat too. The folks making this and the folks at Marvel really get this material and are doing a wonderful job of recreating a comic book experience on the screen while still using that medium to its fullest advantage. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and this concludes today's another Captain's Log.